Hello students, so we have already completed this chapter. Now we are going to see some of the questions from the first chapter. As I have told that this is one of the easiest chapters, so there are not so many questions asked in NEET and AIIMS, but whichever questions are asked, I have written here. Let us discuss those. So the first question is from AIPMT 2007. Let us read out the question. Male gametes in angiosperms are formed by. In the previous lecture, I have discussed the formation of gametes under the headline of gametogenesis. How are the gametes formed? There I told you that there can be two types of cell division, either meiosis or mitosis, for the formation of the gametes. So here a particular case is asked. This case is in the angiosperms. So how are the male gametes formed in angiosperms? There are four options. First option says gametes are formed from microspore mother cell. Second is microspore. Microspore, I have told you that this is nothing but the pollen grain. Pollen grain is also termed as microspore. So pollen grain has what? Pollen grain has two male gametes. Means I can say that microspore has two male gametes. But your question is asking male gametes are formed by. This particular structure contains the male gametes, but the question asks that they are formed by. So formation by, we have to find out. So this cannot be the answer. Microspore cannot be the answer. Third option is generative cell. Fourth option is vegetative cell. This thing you will get to know in the next chapter, which is particularly based on the reproduction in flowering plants. But right now I want to tell you that inside one pollen grain, there during the formation of basically gametes, male gamete, there are two type of cells formed. One is the generative, other is the vegetative cell. So vegetative cell does what? Vegetative cell helps in the formation of the pollen grain. A pollen tube, sorry, helps in the vegetative cell, helps in the formation of pollen tube. So you need not to worry about this, because the question is focused on male gamete formation. Male gamete formation cannot be from the vegetative cell. Vegetative cell is particularly concerned with formation of pollen tube. Don't worry about this. You are going to discuss the formation of pollen tube in next chapter in detail. So these two options are crossed out. Microspore cannot form the male gamete. Simply microspore contains the male gamete. Then D option is vegetative cell. So vegetative cell is responsible for formation of pollen tube, not for the formation of gametes. So we are left with two options. So basically, male gametes in angiosperms will be formed by generative cells. This thing you have to keep in mind. Generative cell forms the male gametes. Two male gametes are formed in case of angiosperms, and those two male gametes are located inside one microspore or one pollen grain, and in that pollen grain, before the formation of pollen grain, there is formation of generative cell and vegetative cell. So generative cell forms the male gamete. This was about the question number 1. This question is asked in AIPMT 2007. Let us come to the next question. I hope this question you can solve by your own. I have discussed it in the previous lecture. The description of the link of that So let us discuss the second question. This second question I hope you can answer by your own, and this question I have already discussed in my previous lecture. The link of that video lecture is there in the description. You can see that. So what do you mean by dioecious condition? What is dioecious condition? I had discussed what is dioecious and what is monoecious. So this question is from AIIMS 2014. Let us read out the options. Dioecious condition is what? What do we mean? What do we mean by a dioecious condition? So option 1 is male and female reproductive structures on the same plant. Male and female reproductive structures are on the same plant. Is it dioecious condition? No, it's not. If they are on the same plant, then that is monoecious condition, not dioecious. Second option is male and female reproductive structures on different plant. Yes, in dioecious condition, male and female reproductive structures are on different plants. So different plant. One plant is having the male reproductive structure, another plant is having the female reproductive structure. The example I have given in previous lecture, example that of papaya, date palm, etc. So in case of papaya, there is one male plant, there is one female plant. Male plant will bear the male flowers, female plant will bear the female flowers. So these are two separate bodies. Two different plants will be there. Two different type of reproductive structures will be located on two separate plants. So that condition is dioecious condition. You need not, since you have found your answer, you need not to go through next other options. So now let us see the question number 3. I hope you have already enjoyed the lecture. If you have enjoyed the previous lectures, please like and subscribe to this channel so that I can get motivated to make more videos on the next chapters. So let us come to the third question. This question is from AIPMT 2015. In the year 2015, the NEET exam, AIPMT exam was cancelled one time. Then again it was held. So this is why I re-AIPMT 2015 paper. So this question is flowers are unisexual in. Unisexual and bisexual I have discussed already in the previous lecture. So unisexual. Unisexual is what? Which condition is unisexual? Unisexual is a condition when only one type of reproductive structure is found in one flower. So unisexual, bisexual terms in case of plants are used for the flower. Flower can be unisexual, flower can be bisexual. But monoecious and dioecious terms are used for a plant. A plant can be monoecious, a plant can be dioecious. Unisexual, bisexual is for flower, monoecious, dioecious is for plant and flower. So unisexual flower means only one type of reproductive structures will be there in that flower. In class 11th you have studied the morphology of the flowering plants. In that you have already seen the structure of flower. So in that flower, in a complete flower there is androecium, then there is gynecium, there are sepals, petals, etc. So there are 4 whorls basically, not etc. There are just 4 whorls in a flower, complete flower. So in case of unisexual, what happens? Either there will be the androecium only, or in that flower there will be only the gynecium. One of the either androecium will be absent or either gynecium will be absent from the flower. So this is uni. Uni means one. Only one reproductive structure will be present in the flower. So this is a very important question. You have to remember this. This question can be used to supplement your short notes in the board's exams also. So unisexual in. Which of these flowers are unisexual? Onion is bisexual, pea is bisexual, both the male and female gametes are there. Male and female reproductive structures are there, androecium and gynecium is there. In the China rose also, androecium and gynecium is there. So the answer is cucumber. In cucumber, it is unisexual. Either gynecium will be there or androecium will be there in the flower. Now let us come to the 4th question. This question is from NEET 2016. This is very recent. So, which of following generates new genetic combinations? So, genetic combinations means combination of genes. So new genetic combination, this thing you will better understand in the genetics chapter. But for now, since this question is from reproduction in organisms, so you can see the option which a new genetic combination has to happen. So what happens in sexual reproduction? In the sexual reproduction, the two gametes fuse. One gamete is from male parent, the second gamete is from female parent. So there are two individuals, male is there, father is there, mother is there. Father and mother are two different organisms. So their genetic makeup, their genes will be different. Father will have a different gene, mother will have a different gene. So their genetic makeup is different. So when the gametes are formed, like the male gamete is formed, then female gamete is formed. So these two gametes will also have a different genetic makeup. Male gamete will have different genes, female gamete will have a different genes, different set of genes. So when these two form, the zygote is said to be formed. When these two fuse, zygote is said to be formed. So this is a phenomenon in case of sexual reproduction. So when zygote is formed, that particular zygote contains genes from male gamete and also the genes from female gamete. So zygote has male gamete genes, female gamete genes, means it has both the genes. When I compare this zygote with the male gamete, the genes of zygote, when I compare with the male gamete, it is different. The genes in the zygote is different because it has also the female genes. So when I compare with the male gamete, it is different. Same way, if I compare the genes of the zygote from the female gamete, it again differs from the female because it has male gamete also. So combination is there. Combination of male and female genes is there. Therefore, in the sexual reproduction, you can say that the zygote has different or new genetic makeup. So our answer is sexual reproduction. But let us see the next options also. Through the next options, you can see different processes of reproduction. So option B is nucellar polyembryony. You don't have to worry about it. This is a new term. You will understand it when you will understand what is nucellus. So nucellus is the part of ovule. Ovule I have explained. Ovule is the female gametophyte in case of angiosperms. So nucellus is the part of that. So this thing you will understand later in the second chapter when I will discuss the second chapter. So you need not to worry about nucellar polyembryony. Let us come to the third option, vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation I have discussed in the reproduction in organisms. So vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction. Vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction, means there will be no formation of gamete. In the vegetative reproduction, there will be no formation of gamete. So, and also vegetative propagation says that there is involvement of just one parent. Two parents are not involved in the case of vegetative propagation. So when one parent is involved in the reproduction, means the offspring or the young one is formed from just one parent, then it means that all the genes from that particular parent will be going into the offspring. So therefore the offspring is exactly same in the genetic makeup, in the type of genes as that of his parent. The same thing I have discussed in the previous lecture. There I had told you a term, clone. So in the vegetative propagation there is formation of clones. Clones because they are similar to their parent. The offspring is similar to their parent, as well as if two offsprings are formed from the same parent, then these two offsprings will be similar to one another also. So new genetic combination is not formed in vegetative propagation. Fourth option is parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis I had discussed in the last video lecture. So parthenogenesis is the formation of zygote without fertilization. Parthenogenesis was the case in animals. In the plant it was termed as parthenocarpy. So in this, fertilization does not take place. So if fertilization is not taking place, it means there is not involvement of two different parents. There is involvement of just one parent. In case of animals, I had given you the example of the bees, turkey bird, and also that of lizard. So in those examples, the formation of zygote takes place directly from one parent. So when one parent are involved, the same case as that in the vegetative propagation happens. One parent means all the genes will go to the offspring. Therefore, the offspring will not have a different genetic makeup from its parent. No new genetic combination is generated. So therefore, your question was new genetic combination in which of the following new genetic combination is generated. So parthenogenesis does not generate the new genetic combination. So the answer is sexual reproduction. Okay, so we are going to solve the fifth question from the competitive exams. This question is asked in the AIIMS 2016. So this is basically a fruit. This fruit is, from my experience, I can tell you that although it won't be written in your question paper, but if you have studied the books, this figure is also there in the NCERT. So you can guess that this is apple fruit. So there are labeling A, B, C, D, 4 labelings are there. 4 parts of the fruit is discussed here in the options. You have to find the correct option. So what is A? Let us start from the inner one. So basically, what are these dotted structures? These dotted structures are the seeds. So seeds means B. Search for the option in which B is given as seed. B is given as seed. Thalamus, mesocarp, B is seed. Means 2 of the options are having B as seed. B as seed. This is correct. Next clue can be found from the after a seed will be what? After seed will be the covering. This covering is the endocarp. I have already discussed in the previous lecture about the 3 layers of a fruit wall. So the outermost layer is the pericarp, the middle one is the mesocarp, and the innermost one is the endocarp. So if this is the fruit is containing this part. This is a fruit. Fruit is containing the seed in the innermost layer. Then the layer surrounding the seed will be endocarp. Endocarp. So C will be endocarp. C is endocarp. C is endocarp. C is endocarp. C mesocarp. So earlier you have found that B seed. So you have to ignore these 2 options. These 2 options are already excluded. So the options that you are left with are A and B. So when you see the C is endocarp, this layer is the endocarp. So C is endocarp, but here it is mesocarp. Means this cannot be the answer. So our answer comes to be A. So let us see the other markings. Other labeling is what? So outside of the endocarp, there will be mesocarp. This fleshy layer, this thing, this will be mesocarp. This will be mesocarp. When I was discussing it in the lecture, I gave the example of mango fruit. In the mango fruit, the fleshy thing that you eat represents the mesocarp. Meso means middle. So this thing is mesocarp. So option D is mesocarp. Option D is mesocarp. Now A is thalamus. This thing, thalamus you have already studied in your class 11th when you had studied the structure of flower. So what is thalamus? And you have seen that in the apple fruit, the fruit develops from the thalamus. So therefore the outermost layer, the pericarp, will be made up of thalamus. A is thalamus, means A is thalamus. So our correct option is A. Okay, so this way we complete our chapter 1 is completed. So please like and subscribe to the channel, and also if you get a few more questions from this chapter, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you so much.